Okay, so we're gonna look at our trade today in AUD USD, which we close right now in mid New York session here. And first of all, we're gonna notice in the DXY, once again in my previous video that I mentioned that DXY is now reacting very strongly to this 3 touch point trend line, also snagging some liquidity over here. And we see that in DXY, the dollar was still making these lower highs and lower lows, very, very bearish. If we look into the daily time frame, we see that rejection from that 3 touch point trend line in the 4-hour time frame. If we zoom in and refine, if we draw our Fibonacci retracement from swing high to swing low, we see that liquidity was swept here, and now price is now looking to go lower and target some other liquidity over here. And we know that that liquidity is actually in discount pricing. If we draw from swing low to swing high of the most recent swing, we see that internally also the dollar is moving with higher highs and higher lows, internally bullish, however externally bearish. And now we're looking for price to come down into that last liquidity low before it decides to do anything else. And so we're very bearish on the dollar. And if we look at the US bond yield as well, which was one of our confluences here, we were also waiting for CPI news yesterday, and we see 1 hour before the release of the CPI news, we see that change of character in the US government bond yield, which shows us that the interest for the US dollar is definitely going lower. Even before CPI news, we already placed our entry in AUD USD. And if we look at AUD USD and we mark our Fibonacci retracement from that swing low to swing high, and we see that in the 4-hour time frame, liquidity was grabbed here, and we had that fake out in early Asia session on Tuesday. And we see those early sellers getting taken out by that internal liquidation. In this phase, we were thinking about if we were going to wait for a 4-hour change of character before CPI news, but since we already knew that the dollar was bearish and that the US bond yield would already change character in the 4-hour time frame, we were very, very confident that AUD USD would find its way to go up after that release. And so we did not wait for that release of CPI news to put our position. Instead, we scaled in on the 1-hour time frame, and we see that change of character in the 1-hour time frame. And we entered there and placed our stop loss initially below that swing low. And we see during that CPI news, price moved aggressively towards our TP. And when it made and broke that previous swing high, we moved our stop loss right below that second liquidity low. Before those descending highs, we chose to get out. And so that's it. And this was a very cooperative trade that aligned perfectly with the fundamentals as well as the technicals regarding our entry and our exit.